Hey everybody, I'm Clifford Stumby, the Pop Song Professor, and welcome to my channel where we make English class awesome by talking about song lyrics. Today we're going to be talking about Leave Me Alone by NF, which he just recently dropped. They've got a really cool music video for it, and there's a lot to these lyrics as well. So let's go ahead and start with the music video. Essentially, we see NF with his shopping cart with the black balloons tied to it, and he's got the smudges of the black smile on his face, but he's come into this place that looks like it was supposed to be a retreat, but it looks kind of dumpy and dirty. All around him staring are people in white, some holding balloons, some people have the little smudges on their faces as well, and there's also other people in black with the shopping carts like NF. So it seems to me like there are different people at different phases in whatever this process is. At some point you lose the shopping cart, at some point you lose the black clothes, the black balloons, and the black smile, and trade it in for something else. Sometimes it's the white clothes, sometimes you just give the balloons away. But he goes in there, and there's a lot of processes happening all around. Like there's a process where people are getting the new clothes, process where they're getting to get rid of the balloons, process where they're getting rid of the fake smiles, right? And I think that a lot of these have to do with certain things that NF struggles with. We've talked about the shopping cart in a video before, which at the end of the video, I'll link over here somewhere. But the shopping cart is like a portable cage, seems to be that same cage he was in Perception's just, man, he got rid of the big cage, but he kept the little one and it's got wheels so it can go with him wherever he goes. Hope you're sensing the irony here that, you know, I don't know, it's probably like a message about what it's like to heal but still to like hold on to the old things, the old vices or bad thoughts. The balloons he actually references to in this song is doubts. They could have to do with fears or just things that he's struggling with that he also doesn't want to have to let go. And we see in the video at the end, he takes two balloons off the cart and is like handing them to somebody else, but he's like looking away and he's faltering. He's not really sure that he can do it. These are obviously psychologically very deeply tied into who he is, these balloons, and so it's very difficult to part with them. But essentially, it seems like this place that we see in the music video is an opportunity to come clean of those things that are holding a person back. What this process is, what it really looks like internally, NF doesn't give us a lot of details about. The one thing I will notice is that the people who are wearing white and don't have the smudges, don't have the balloons or the, shopping carts, none of them really look happy. So that's my one big question or concern as to, really wanting to understand where this music video is going, but it's definitely interesting, and it seems to me, at first at least, that this is gonna be about some kind of a healing process as he lets go of those old burdens. And I would fully expect to see another music video drop to tell the rest of this story. And let's go ahead and talk about the lyrics. Now we're gonna talk about a few selections because he says a lot. So there'd be a lot to cover if we were gonna do every single line. But essentially, let's start with this one here. I went from nobody to kind of famous, hide my plaques inside the closet. I just can't explain it. My wife, she tells me that she's proud and thinks that I should hang them, but I just leave them on the ground right next to my self-hatred. Really interesting, right? Like these momentous symbols of the accomplishments that he's done with his music, he puts them at the same level of his self-hatred and is not willing to celebrate. There's something really sad about that and something I think a lot of us can empathize with. He continues, yeah, mental health. Where's my mental health? Diagnosed with OCD, what does that mean? Well, gather around, that means I obsessively obsess on things I think about. That means I might take a normal thought and think it's so profound. Basically, and I'm not an expert on OCD, but he's talking about, a mental disorder where you take something that you do think and all of a sudden you become obsessed with it, and it becomes something where probably when he says it sounds so profound, like it feels real, whatever this thought is. I'm not gonna give examples here because I think that could just get really messy, but he basically has thoughts that he can't get rid of in his head and they become compulsive, right? He continues ruminating, filled balloons are full of doubts. Do the same things, if I don't, I'm overwhelmed. Doing those same things, like those patterns, that's kind of something we associate with OCD a lot is, you have to do this exact same thing every time. You have to, touch the light switch the exact same way every time you walk into the room, stuff like that. But he says, if I don't, I'm overwhelmed. Thoughts are pacing, they go round and round and round, and that's kind of those, compulsive thoughts that he has to struggle with. Then we get the pre-chorus, and there's a lot going on in the pre-chorus. It really does a good job of summarizing the theme of the song. Hold up my balloons and cover up my face. That's probably part of that smile. I can feel them weighing on me every day. I should let them go and watch them float away, but I'm scared if I do, then I'll be more afraid. If he lets go of those doubts, those fears, those insecurities, those weights, whatever they are, and it's odd that they're balloons, but they're also weights. I wonder if there's some ironic message in there. But he's afraid that if he does, that he will, be missing something. He feels like he needs them. He's dependent on these fears. And I think that we can all really empathize with that. Like, there are things we believe about ourselves that keep us from being who we really are. And we wonder, or maybe we don't even know to wonder. Like, if I let go of this, stop thinking this about myself, who could I actually become if I was who I was supposed to be? But instead, we hold on to these crippling fears that reduce us to fractions of what we could be. He continues, tell them how I feel, but they don't want to change. Talking to the balloons or the doubts. Tell them how I feel, but they remain the same. Loosen up my grip. They say that's not okay. So he starts to let go, and all of a sudden those doubts are like, no, you can't let us go. We're part of you. He says, quiet, 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 etc. Leave me alone. And who's he talking to there? He might be lashing out at loved ones who try to help, sure. He could also be talking to those balloons and be like, no, leave me alone. I want to be apart from you guys. Then we continue into verse 2, and he's talking to his doubt essentially here, and he says, we don't go, the doubt's talking, we don't do enough interviews or go out in public lately. We don't post enough on our socials to keep the buzz from fading. So am I going to lose the fame that I've garnered? Am I not going to be as successful because I'm just not pushing that, not having the hustle? He says, let it fade, yeah, let it fade. He doesn't care. Once it's decimated, then you drop a song out of nowhere and all the fans embrace it, then the buzz will surface again. It's part of my operation. I don't need advice for my doubts right now. I'm trying to go back to that inner vision for what's going to happen, instead of letting his fears guide him, which is a really powerful example to set. He finishes verse 2 by singing, I keep it together but have a disorder, the OCD. I go to my room and sit in my corner, and he's going to tell us how he copes with that here. I talk to myself in a language that's foreign. I think of a rhyme and I have to record it, so music, right? But no, if I don't, I'll wake up in the morning and question my life again, always avoiding. I hate to be different but hate to be normal, so and goes on, so and so forth. Really, it sounds like he's saying that if he doesn't go and write music, he doesn't get the self-therapy that he needs to be able to process those thoughts and move past them. Instead, he gets stuck in them, and that's that OCD coming back to haunt him. And then finally, we have a selection from verse 3 that's really important, and this is where he talks about his experience with fame. So essentially, he refers to, a previous album on a song, No Name, where he says, fame called, told you I hung up, it kind of felt wrong, finally called him back, we didn't talk long, he asked me how I'd been, I sent him this song. Yeah, I think he took offense, he kind of seemed off, I texted him that night to ask what he thought. It took a couple of days to get a response, but once I finally did, he said the song sucks. So basically, fame called him up, trying to tempt him. He's not sure if he wants to be famous. He really doesn't want to go in for the fame. That sort of like self-idolization or self-glorification isn't something that he's about. But he talks to fame. He's being friendly, kind of flirting with danger, essentially. He sends Fame this song, and Fame's like, no, that's crap. And so basically, I think what's being said here is that you try to be famous, but you're trying to be true to yourself. Those two are going to come into conflict. One's not going to like the other. You got to be true to yourself, or you got to look for fame, because you can't be actively trying to do both. I think that's what's being said here. The song continues on, ends with the pre-chorus. The chorus is just about being quiet, leave me alone. But I would say that the overall message of this song is something that we've seen from NF a lot recently, him kind of identifying who he is, explaining that to us, kind of in the context of the rap game and his own growth and development as an artist, along with a lot of messages about where he's at mentally. So we actually got to hear him specifically talk about OCD on this one, and I felt like compared to a lot of the songs we've been getting recently, this was very specific and very transparent with his audience, which was really, really cool. And so I appreciated that, him getting a little bit more detailed about some of the stuff that he went through. Obviously, we're being very metaphorical and symbolic with the balloons, but it's getting more and more obvious with every music video, I think. So there's some really cool stuff here. If I had to summarize this song in one sentence, I would basically say NF talks about being himself and what it's like. In several different ways, talking about his relationship to fame, talking about his doubts, talking about his disorder, talking about his marketing strategies, and talking about, yeah, just fame and coming into his own and who he is. So anyway, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this explanation of Leave Me Alone by NF. You can go check out these explanations of NF songs right here. These will all be from this album as well, so make sure that you understand fully what's happening here. Hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you next time.